This is Yakha from the Busy Adults podcast. In this first episode, we introduce ourselves, our first player characters, and our favorite player characters. Thanks for joining us for our first episode of Busy Adults.
So, I don't know. Who wants to start this?
I thought we were doing initiatives.
Well, yeah, let's go for that. Roll for initiative, everyone.
Roll for initiative.
Why not?
Got an 8.
Oh. I got a 17.
That's a 9.
1-6.
Oh, so that's Mr. Monkey.
Alright, Mr. Monkey. Okay, well, yeah, my name's Monkey. At least that's what I'm going to be going by in this podcast. And I guess nerd-wise, I've been a nerd my entire life. Been playing games since I was, I think, like 3 or 4 years old. Playing on Sega Genesis and all of that ever since. Played on the N64, SNES, all back in the day. Huge Star Wars nerd, always have been. So, yeah, I guess my first D&D thing was with some coworkers like 4 years ago. And, pretty typical party. You had a ranger, a warlock, and a cleric. Just kind of walking around, going through the Feywilds and stuff. Kind of broke the game a little bit with our fun little combos that we had. But yeah, so we had a ton of fun with it. And then the game that I really liked playing, because again, Star Wars nerd, is the Star Wars Force and Destiny role-playing game. So it's basically D&D, but Star Wars. And they've got rule sets for bounty hunters and soldiers, or if you want to be like a Jedi or stuff like that. So of course we played the one with the Jedi, and we did this one kind of homebrewish kind of campaign. The last thing I remember of it is having to go into this Imperial outpost. Now this is set between episode 3 and 4, so after Order 66 and all that. And we go into this Imperial outpost to steal some stuff so we can get off this planet that's all Imperial controlled. And we get in, no problem. We snuck in, got what we needed, but getting out, we tripped an alarm. And so, I know, it's bad. It's bad, right? So, getting out was a huge pain in the butt. And we went through so many stormtroopers, just trying to escape them, knock them out, something. Because in this game, you're not like Jedi. You're just a Force user who has no idea what the hell they're doing. So it makes things kind of difficult to really fight anything. But we got through them. We got out the front door, and I guess there was a stormtrooper that used to be a clone, and he saw me using the Force. And so Order 66 kind of kicked in, and he was like, "Murder the Jedi!" So shit got kind of crazy. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. And I picked him up with the Force, and he was climbing over a fence. Well, the fence had some spikes next to it. And I just picked him up, and I slammed him right down on the spike. Killed him instantly.
He's the Force.
Instantly. Now, in this game, you don't necessarily roll your d20s. They have like light side, dark side Force die that you use, and you have to roll, like, if you're doing anything Force related or anything that kind of goes against what you're doing, then you have to roll these dice. And if they come up dark side, then you get dark side points, morality points, and it gets progressively worse. Well, it's from a scale of 0 to 100. 20, you are dark side. 80, you're complete light side. I went from 50 to 35 with just that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was rough. But yeah, it was totally worth it because as my character, I was just sick and tired of it. I don't care anymore. Just get me out of here. So went full dark side on him, smashed him into a spike, and we escaped.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So
it was
does
good.
this Star Wars RPG, does it take place in the canon universe? Like,
Yes.
what year or saga is it roughly, like, after or before
It is
in the timeline?
It is after the prequels. So it's after the prequels, in between, like I said, episodes 3 and 4.
Mhm.
So when episode 3 ends, Order 66 starts, and the clones start killing all the Jedi. Anakin becomes Vader, all of that happens, yada yada. And then episode 4, you've got Luke being introduced, and all of that. So it's in between there.
Gotcha.
It depends on the kind of, I guess, campaign or the homebrew or whatever you want to run as far as what year it is or how far along it's been. In our case, the 3 characters we were playing as, mine was, I can't believe I forgot the alien race, but mine was from this other planet. He kind of grew up in a sage kind of family, to where they all kind of knew the Force and worked with it, but because of the Imperials going around killing all the Force users to not be Jedi, you kind of had to hide it. So my guy came from this family, but he couldn't really practice it. So eventually me and the other 2 people kind of got together. One of them was a tech person. She had a little droid, like a little mouser droid, like you see on the Death Star, the little tiny box things. Yeah. So she had one of those, and the other guy, I forgot what he did. I think he was just like a warrior guy. Mine was more Force related. But it's where, so I guess the era is pretty much where the Imperials are trying to kill all the Force users. So
Fair enough.
yeah, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's cool, and it is completely Star Wars canon. It actually gives you a map of the entire galaxy, and the Kessel Run and all that fun stuff that you hear in the movies. So it's really cool. It's one of the main reasons why I bought the book.
Well, that's great. That's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for me. I mean, I'm a gamer, major gamer. It's what I do. So, yeah. That's it.
Cool. Transition. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. Okay, so it was you, I think. What was after that?
Yeah.
Are you? Am I gonna have to bleep out what I'm saying?
I don't know.
What do you want to be? Who are you?
I figured I'd just be Yakha.
Okay. Hi,
Just,
Yakha.
Okay.
Because I'll explain that. Shit. I mean, you talking about your first character, and honestly, I tried to find or think about my previous character, and I can't think of shit about him.
I only remember mine because it was like the first thing, and it was with coworkers at my work. So that's why I remember it.
Right. I just remember, because I got in. What was it? 3-4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And my ex was really into D&D, and I think we were doing Pathfinder at the time, and she wanted me to play because she wanted to play, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. I don't want to do it because this is super nerdy, and I'm not into that. Like, I'm thinking dressing up and like literally theater roles going on here.
We're not too far from that.
I wish.
No, we get a little more dark, but yeah.
Right. And I was like, I'm interested, and I'll do it because she wants me to do it. And I was kind of just dragging my feet. And I ended up, she got mad because I didn't make a character. I was like, okay, then you just make one for me. Since you've done it before, I don't know what I'm doing. So I just remember you, or who is it?
It was me. It was me.
What was it? Yeah, it was you, Monkey, and her sitting at the table making up my fucking character.
Yeah. Honestly, we tried to make you the retarded bard. But
Wait, I was there. I
You
remember.
were. You were.
You were there?
That was it. Yeah,
She was there.
At the apartment. And
Yep.
Muffin.
like,
I brought Muffin too. She was
did.
there.
Yep. And we tried our hardest, but Pathfinder, you cannot make a retarded bard. You can't.
no, you get like a +4 or +6 bonus just for being a bard instantly.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I guess this isn't going to happen.
It's like, he's got a 4 intelligence. Oh, you're a bard, automatically +6. Like, well, you're not retarded.
Nope.
Damn it.
Oh man, I just remember I was like, well, he's not stupid, but then like I just had to RP it, which I've never done before because it was my first game. And so I just RP'd the dumb dude. And I thought it was pretty funny because like one of our first sessions, and it's still iconic, 2 moons! I don't even know what brought it up. I just know that I was convinced that there were 2 moons even though there was 1.
We still talk about 2
I
moons
know.
every once in a while.
If I remember right, like, you and somebody else was super drunk, and you guys stumbled outside, and you're just like, 2 moons!
It was him and the Frenchman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
the Frenchman.
They both like nat 1 their constitution save for like alcohol
Oh
poisoning.
god.
Yep.
And then he like convinced me through persuasion that there were 2 moons, and I believed it.
Yeah, because he was a cleric, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I
I
believe
was a
so.
dwarven cleric.
Dwarven cleric.
Yeah, dwarven cleric, and he failed his alcohol roll.
I know. Sad.
And then
Must have had
Like,
negative numbers on that D20.
I just remember that was like one of the funny moments, and then one of the just dumbest moments is when Drakenrider, you tried to TPK us, and I just kept getting healed and just started keep hitting shit, and I was just up and I couldn't go down, and we were just going crazy, and you were like, seriously, how the hell did you just take on like 3 people at the same time and still get through this encounter? Like, I do remember that, but I couldn't tell you the name of him. I couldn't tell you anything about this character. I just remember those 2 moments, and that was my first game. But yeah, I just never was super into that or interested in joining until after that game, and then it was just kind of like, oh, when's the next session? Like,
Yeah.
like it just kind of got in my blood, and I was
it
like,
pulls
oh
you
man.
in. It's
And now I'm just
surprising.
sitting here just making characters after character idea.
Yep.
I got
two of
literally
them today.
I got 2 folders, and both of them, there's one ideas for Pathfinder, and then there's ideas for D&D 5e now. And so I got like folders on shit. Which I think I'm the least experienced out of all of you because I'm just strictly a player. Because I'll let you guys tell your stories, but I've literally been a player. I've only played 4 characters total. But, and I know we said we might talk about some of our favorites, but one of my favorites is the one I'm playing right now, and I don't want to give much away about him because we're all in that same campaign. It's Yorl.
Yorl, yeah.
Yep.
He's my favorite.
Oh,
But-
good old Earl. Aaliyah's bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah. And why I was wanting to go by Yakha on this is just because he's the one character I can talk about. Because
Fair enough.
he was my first build, actually, my first one.
Yeah.
But I just remember like, oh yeah, he's just gonna be this typical mercenary, blah 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 blah. Like, wow, groundbreaking. But he was just like, I just saw him as someone who was skeptical with everything, and he questioned it. But then it came off to the party and you as an asshole. So I'm like, all right, Yakha asshole goes along with my
Super
personality. Let's do it.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
Lean into it.
Super douche.
But yeah. I think that's all I remember, because I definitely don't want to talk about my new characters right now, because there's just so much not explored with the party and everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm still trying to break into RP a little bit more, and getting my story out there. I think that was my biggest problem with Yakha.
You mean you don't want to talk about your wizard that always dies from the fucking bird?
That's funny. Yeah.
There is.
I mean,
because he's
I mean,
probably
that's-
going to die.
I mean, that's all like. Well, he probably is, but like, he's got so much backstory because we've only had
That's
10
true.
sessions or something.
Yeah, not as much as I want.
Yeah. So like, I don't want to accidentally spill some beans there, because
Oh no,
play-
my beans.
the place we left off at is pretty big to him, and I imagine has some stuff for him,
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure.
and I'm not looking forward to it. I'm like, oh, I can't do anything because I'm like a level 3 freaking wizard. It's like, can't do I can't even cast fireball. Like, this is great.
Once
The
you
one
do, you're
job.
gonna cook that bird.
Don't. He's my little bird friend.
I already said I've got like 3 characters ready to replace him, so cook him.
I got some backups too, because shit, he's
Because the bird keeps killing you.
Oh, that and the DM's a dick.
Yeah.
Yes.
He said it was going to be a rough campaign from the start, so
Yep.
I knew it was going to be rough because wizards have no HP. So I was like, I just got to pick spells to survive until I get to something or get some items.
Pretty much.
But who's next? I think it's who is it?
Believe it would be me,
Oh,
Drakenrider. I am one of this group's DMs. I started with 2nd edition way back in the day, and my very first character I made, I got into it because I had a buddy who introduced me to Baldur's Gate on the PC, the first one, and loved it, and had a paladin. Well, I didn't really understand stats. All I knew was strength means you hit shit hard, and constitution means you can take hits. So I went into this session up at the local game shop, and they were all diehards. Like, they were in their 30s. They knew D&D like the back of their hands. They worshipped it. Gary Gygax was a god. They were your stereotypical neckbeards, all that stuff. And
I
I
think
go,
most of them still are.
and well, yeah, but if you look at like some of these people versus like when they see 5th edition, like they hate
Oh, yeah,
5th
I
edition people. And so I played 2nd edition, went in here, created a character that was a paladin, human, rolled stats, and my 2 highest stats I put in strength, constitution. So I hit hard and I can take hits. You're a paladin, you gotta kind of be that tank. Next highest stat was dexterity. Mind you, I was also wearing full plate mail, which that was stupid.
Yep.
Next highest stat was intelligence, and my lowest stat, again, was a paladin, was my charisma. I actually had a negative.
Oh
For the
no.
equivalent. So, like, they went to lay on hands, and again, like, don't really know what I'm doing. They made it sound like, oh yeah, we're here to help, and then they heard that, and it was just was like, kind of like stayed away from D&D for a bit because like they were just such assholes about it.
Yeah.
But then my neighbor at the time, his brother found out. He's like, oh, no. You're going to come over one of the weekends, you crash here, and we hang out and party. He's like, we're going to play a D&D session, 2nd edition. You're going to do it right, and we're going to help you out. I'm like, okay, cool. Ever since then, got hooked. But, didn't have any of the stuff. I think all I had was, like, the little preset boxes you could buy that came with a little story. And would run that for friends. Friends would run simple stuff, but pre-made characters. 3rd edition came out, and that's where kind of my heart's always been. That's why I ran Pathfinder for y'all first, because that was basically 3.75. I've played all the editions. I've played Ringworld. I've played D20 Modern. I've played all different kinds of D20 mechanic systems. I've even played, because I'm a huge Warhammer 40k fanatic, I've also played Dark Heresy, which is interesting to say the least. Like I said, play D&D campaigns. I'm the DM for most of them. Rhea, when she introduces herself, she's our other DM. My favorite character right now is in for a campaign she's running. It is Aaliyah. She is a high elf warlock. She has had life kick her in the teeth multiple times. And when I first designed this character, I wanted her to be kind of like a redemption. Like, yeah, she made a pact, a fiend pact. And then she met this little, rogue named Ural. And he has just royally pissed her off like no other and just steps on all of her what's the word I'm looking for?
Nerves?
Her morals, her compass, she's dark. She will slaughter you if you cross her. But
Or
she is
cut a
trying
hand off.
to, yeah, she will cut a hand off. She almost did that in the session to Euro. But again, she keeps getting poked. That bear keeps getting poked, and she's just falling deeper and deeper into that hole of, you know what? I already sold my soul to a demon. I've got my power. Let's see how much I can go. In worst case scenario, I'll regain my soul by killing my demon patch. And that's basically it. I've played, like I said, played them all. Love games like, Divinity Sin, Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age. Play all those. Grew up huge in the Final Fantasy type style games, the JRPGs. Always had a soft spot. Play 5th edition, and I know it gets poo-pooed on by a lot of us older that have played the different editions. But the simple fact is, for newbies and stuff like that, 5th edition, in my opinion, definitely helps get everyone in. Also, side note, I'm a huge critter, love Critical Role. Just a fan. And don't really believe in the Mercer effect. I think it's more of you get newbies that don't understand, like, hey, you have to have get your feet wet, do all this stuff, and you actually have to put the time and effort in. And also, Critical Role is voice actors, stuff like that. They've been doing this shit for a long time. So that's just a little bit about me.
I think it's me now.
I think so. You're the last one.
I'm the girl one.
The girl.
Case.
The girl one?
The girl one. There's 3 of the boy ones, and there's a girl one. No, I'm the girl DM. The other one. I'll go by Ray. I'm a nerd, but I'm also a busy adult. Haha! See what I did there, guys? Pew 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 pew. Busy adult. That's the thing that we're doing is busy adults. Full-time regular job. Got a husband, have a kid, apparently, 2 cats, a house, and I'm a big ol' nerd. Like, I like the video games, I like the movies, I like nerd music. I don't know. I just
like
whatever.
Bardcore?
Like, I don't know.
Hey, Bardcore's kind of cool.
It is, but I'm saying, can Bardcore be classified as nerd music?
No, I guess maybe it's just I'm a nerd including music. You can be a nerd about different things like that. TV, books, anime. Don't make fun of my hentai choices, guys.
We absolutely
waiting for that one.
And then more recently, as in the last, I think it's been like almost 4 years that we've been playing together as a group now, is D&D or tabletop role-playing games. And Drakenrider here was my first DM for actual, I know, for an actual like real game, because I do remember my first D&D experience. I was in high school. We went to one of my friends' basement because that's where you're supposed to play D&D.
Yep.
We didn't, I think there was like 1 set of dice for like 6 of us. We had to make our characters that day, so we were in a hot ass basement for like 6 hours. nobody knew the rules, not even the DM. I don't know what my character was. I made shit up on the fly. And just like every great D&D game, we had one session and then we never played again.
Yes.
So, I mean, after that's just how D&D goes. You have a great session, you enjoy yourself, and then you never do it again.
Yeah.
It just falls apart, and then like we're getting back on track, back on brand. We're all busy adults. We have wives and children and jobs and other jobs and pets and houses, and it's ridiculous, and I don't know how we have the time to do what we do, but we take the time out because it's super fun and it's really exciting. I started being a DM like almost a year ago now. I started DMing for a couple of my high school friends over like Discord, and we played mostly like Theater of the Mind style of D&D rather than like on grids. And then I started DMing for you guys, and we use Roll20 and Discord. So that's fun. I was like, I think I know enough about D&D. I might as well DM because I didn't have enough games. I believe at that time I was playing in 4 games.
Yeah.
I was
think
playing
you're
in
right.
2 games, and I was DMing 2 games because I'm a fucking maniac.
Yeah. And you decided, you know what? Let's just do another one.
Just do some more.
just for
Pile
fun.
it on.
Yeah. I think I was going out one night for something with some other friends. And you're like, hey, does anybody else want to join? Sure. Why not? That's where my paladin came from.
It was just a good time. As for characters, I honestly can't remember anything about my first character that I played with Pathfinder, with you guys. I know it was a ranger?
I think it was a ranger. Yeah.
I think it was a ranger because, once again, as a girl, you're either a cleric or a ranger.
And
My
you
next
were
character that I will be referring to is a cleric. And that's the one that I'm kind of going named after is Ray, or Rayasha, and she was a human cleric. She
the best damn cleric we ever had.
I almost kept everybody alive the entire time. Almost.
You tried.
I tried really hard. I did barely any damage in any fight ever because I was too busy healing.
Except for
I
like
would
one of
like
the
be a
last
little
named
sad.
fights, you ended up killing something just because like
Yeah.
it provoked an attack of opportunity. You just,
Yeah! I think, I got afraid and I hit it, and I think I crit or something and it died. That's one of like 6 kills that I had in the entire 2 years that we played that campaign or something.
Yeah. But you kept the rest of us alive.
Mostly.
I think there was like
Most.
2 deaths, and one was because a player was new and decided to jump because she thought
Well,
the character
yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Like
But
wielded
I mean,
fighter. I know new player, but still.
well,
like,
yeah. But she did come back thanks to our wonderful DM and the wonderful cleric that could bring her back.
Right.
But
And then,
Yeah.
of course, the final battle of the session where you failed your death saves, and then it's like, okay, dude, I need you to do, because I'm a huge, again, Critter fan. I'm a big fan of the Mercer revive, where it's like, hey, if you've died, you need to roll. And I think
Do
your
some
character
skill
did die
checks.
once before, but was brought back. So then it's like, oh, hey, you need to roll like an 11, and you rolled like a 2.
yeah, it was real low. Yeah.
It was like,
He's
are
fun.
you serious? Like, did this just happen? And it's like, well, I mean, what a way to go. Last session, you guys
I know.
prevented someone from going, full god, for demigod from going full god. So that was cool.
I think I did some like almost 200 damage in one turn against her.
Yep, that was
My
cool.
monk was nuts, man.
Yeah.
I figured out how to make him crazy.
He was good. He was pretty good.
He was.
But I can't remember, like too many details about the game itself. I remember my backstory for Rayasha. And
I remember we own a harbor that's probably destroyed thanks to the Tarask that we brought back.
no way.
Nope,
That
the harbor
totally
survived.
made it.
The harbor survived the Tarask coming into the
You guys
world.
were so far away from it, but yeah.
Alright. Shit.
Yeah. So, but that's not really the main character, because the character that I'm playing right now is Harmony, and she is in the other game that it's kind of on hiatus right now. We'll pick it back up eventually. I believe in us. And she is a tiefling bard, who is, and so her story is like loosely based on that movie Memoirs of a Geisha. I watched it one day. I mean, I've seen it before, but I watched it again recently, and I'm like, yeah, why not? And so she's either abandoned or sold into the geisha world, did training, learned how to do all of the arts and the seduction and this performance, and eventually retired at the ripe old age of 26, because that's probably really old in that community. Not that it's based on real life or anything. But so I think we were level 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So she is a level 3 glamour bard. We just leveled, so I don't think we even got the opportunity to play our level 3 characters yet.
I don't think so.
Maybe we had a session of level 3, but
I think it was one session of level 3, because I know I got to use a couple of my fun ranger stuff.
Okay.
yeah, so I'm really looking forward to using the level 3 glamour bard stuff. Most importantly is enthralling performance, which is one of the glamour bard sort of skills. And essentially, if you perform for a minute, anybody that's within the area, it's like 60 or 90 feet or something, become charmed by you. And they're charmed for, I think, maybe an hour or maybe a day. It's fucking ridiculous. But the most ridiculous part about this enthralling performance sort of class feature is if they fail their charm check, they don't know it. So it just happens. Whereas every other like charm person or friends or any sort of one of those, if they fail it, they know that you tried to trick them. With this, they don't know that you're trying to magic them into being
if they
charmed
pass
by
it?
you. Yeah, if you save, you still don't know that you were charmed or the charm was attempted upon you.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's my character that I'm really interested in playing once we pick back up. But I play all the characters as the DM.
That's right. In the one shot we're doing right now, you pretty much are playing as all the characters.
It gives me a chance to figure out how to play different classes, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I DM. I have the one game with you guys, and then I have another game with you guys, but it's minus 2 of the people from the first game because they're not always reliable or
Available
due to jobs and kids and whatnot, because we're
Busy
adults.
Yeah.
Drop it in your segment.
Stay on brand.
That's right.
So I guess that's all of us. That's us. We are the hosts. And that is the podcast. No, this is the podcast. It's not done yet. We're still going.
Just the first episode, guys, and we're halfway through.
Yeah, just about here.
Then we'll be as big as Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. He's going to be asking us for sponsorships any day now.
that's right. Yep.
So we've kind of introduced ourselves, and this podcast, really the point of it is just to hang out and talk about nerdy stuff. Before games, during games, after games, in our free time, when we're able to just like chat, we share memes with each other. That's all we do, is we talk about nerdy or D&D tabletop game style of things with one another. We thought, well, let's shut ourselves away from our families and do it together.
That's a pretty good way to do it.
To just woosah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monkey's got twins. I just had a newborn and a toddler, and has a young
rambunctious.
Yeah.
Muffin.
Muffin is ridiculous.
Yes.
And has like 6 jobs, right? Something like that.
Yeah, Yakha basically does have like 6 jobs.
Maybe we'll learn each other's names one day.
Hey.
We'll get there.
I was trying to figure out how to change it on my thing here. But...
Me too. I gave up.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
Literally ask what you want your name to be.
Yeah.
You say, this is what I want it to be.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, yeah. Or you could, like, hover over your little face, and then there's the 3 dots. Click on that, and then there's a rename. And you're done.
Well, the thing is like, I use this Zoom as professional stuff,
Well,
so I'm like,
so do
I hope
I.
it don't stick.
It probably will, so just make sure you change it.
God,
But the thing is,
hilarious.
that's not my name. Oh,
That's not my name.
That's fine.
that's not my name.
That's not
Okay,
my-
I think I know one song that the bard's gonna sing.
They call me Stacy. But yeah, welcome to the show.
Woo!
Clearly in the future it's not going to be a lot of this big introductions. We're going to talk about nerdy things. We like to talk about classes and builds and creating characters, tabletops in general, maybe exploring other sort of D20 or role-playing systems. It's going to be fun and new and exciting for things to play and talk about.
Yeah.
Also, like a D&D court, like, should sneak attack be refined to only ranged weapons and finesse weapons? Because I used to play 3 and 3-5, and one of the most broke things you could do was monk rogue. And in a one shot that Rhea DM'd, I didn't realize that 5th edition had that rule for rogues, and I went, okay, I'm gonna get on the other side and I'm gonna sneak attack. And they're like, you punched him. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you can't do that. And I look at the rules and I was like, what the hell's this horse shit? Like, I was not happy. Like,
It says right here, you can't do it.
That's right.
you know, just like the session you had last week where, again, different one shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm going to play the Goblin Cleric and I'm going to animate dead in this tournament. And you were like, yeah, the minute someone dies, they cast spells so they can't decompose. And I'm like, wait, so animate dead is pointless?
I had no idea that was going to be a whole part of your character, but to save, like, you guys from any, like, actual death or harm, it's like a cage match tournament battle.
Right.
So, WWE, essentially. And they have medics, and I had them cast Gentle Repose on any character that went down so that they wouldn't have to do death saves. But a portion of Gentle Repose was the fact that they can't be brought up from the dead. Whoops, sorry.
And see, that's something that, like, I'm sorry, Drake, we'll get it figured out. But anyway, that's something, like, I feel like you're trying to hide until, hey, surprise, guys, I'm dead. Maybe talk to her first. Be like, hey, I'm gonna do this.
I mean,
and then freak everybody out.
If it was like more than just a one shot, yes. But when it's one shots, it's kind of one of those things like you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So it's like, oh hey, you're having like this tournament, and I guess when Ray said like, oh hey, it's a tournament, I thought like, again, we're all nerds. We all have seen Yu Yu Hakusho, the dark tournament, like. I figured like shit like that, like, hey, some motherfuckers are gonna die, and I'm gonna go, hey, minions, attack your former comrades.
Yep. Which I mean,
know.
That would have worked.
I unintentionally squashed your grand master plan.
Yeah.
But you only got through the first round. You still got 2 more rounds to go, and it only gets harder from here.
Yeah.
30 on every fucking thing.
That's a 72 to hit. Does a 72? Yeah? Okay, hold on. Let me... Just mountains of dice, even though I roll digitally.
That's okay. Get that 3D dice up there and it just floods it.
Oh my god, my frame rate would go down to like negative 12.
Absolutely. You won't be able to do anything for the next 5 minutes, but it'll look beautiful for the 2 seconds it works.
Pass.
Yeah, that's the podcast. It's going to be random stuff like this. We'll talk different stuff. Mostly lighthearted. We might talk about, I think the darkest I think we would go would be like, how has COVID affected your gaming? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty casual sort of conversation that we want to have, and a lot of the sort of D&D YouTubes or podcasts that are out there are all pretty much based in min-maxing and optimizing, and that's not super our sort of vibe. Yeah, It's good to play something that makes sense, but it's also better to play something that's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're a huge min-maxer, probably not the podcast for you.
No, but if you want some weird, crazy builds, absolutely. Like, I just made a goblin monk for no reason because, hell yeah.
Punch him in the kneecaps.
4 elements goblin monk that just uses fire.
Oh, is that Avatar thing that you sent over?
Yeah,
nice.
So I just did a small character up to level 5 to see how it kind of progresses through. And actually, it's not even remotely broke. So it's like a crowdfunded fix for the 4 elements monk. And it's not even remotely broke. Like, I get 2 cantrips, either control flames, mold earth, gust, or shape water. Pick 2 of those. Okay, cool. Cantrips just to alter shit. Cool.
Yeah.
And then every 3 levels or so, you get 2 basically spells, but they're reflavored into avatar attacks. Like,
nice.
One of them, I think it's called Fists of the Gust or something like that. And when you have an open hand, you can kind of like shoot at them with air. It basically just casts a gust spell. And that's it. But you spend key points to do it. So it's kind of a nice reflavor that brings it up further than what the way of the 4 elements already is, that just burns key points for no reason.
Fun.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
Let's take a break real quick. Everyone go do your business. Come back in like a couple of minutes here. Play that break music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Break and we'll be right back.
Pretend. And welcome back. Fuck.
We're here with the Busy Adults.
Look at us being busy doing things and stuff.
All the things.
All the things, all the time.
So did everybody have a nice pee break?
Yeah.
I went, got a drink, checked on the newborn, make sure that he's still breathing while he's sleeping on his back, because mom's trying to lay the other one down. So.
Very good. All right.
You're never going to stop checking to see if they're breathing. I did that to Muffin this morning.
Yeah, I did that to Henry the other day.
I did it to Ollie this morning because he didn't take his nap till like 1:30, 2 o'clock this afternoon because Candace decided like, oh, hey, nap time's a great time to go do a play date with him. And I'm like, oh my God. Like as he's screaming and kicking as I'm putting him in the car, like, oh, this is going to be fun for you. Have fun. I'm staying home.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed out for 3 hours and it's like, hey, you breathing? Yep, you're just sawing logs. You're exhausted. It's okay, bud.
Yeah.
Yep. You deserve it.
Okay, yeah, welcome back. Here we are talking about nerd things with nerd people. I I guess we have a segment where we talk about some more characters of ours. Maybe they might be like current characters, a favorite character, your first character, future characters. I guess we could roll initiative once again to see who goes when.
Roll initiative.
That's a 10.
I got 13. Got 1. Oh god, what'd you get, Drake? What'd you get, Drake?
At 20.
Oh shit.
Yeah, 20. That's you. What about Yakha? What'd you get? Yakha.
Sounds like Yakha died.
He might have lost power.
That's also true. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there you go.
He's
alive.
very quiet on my end.
I don't.
Yeah,
Really?
he's quiet on mine too. But that's okay.
Deep throat that mic, buddy.
Go, 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 go.
Oh, back to the 360 days. Yelling at all those 10-year-olds for
Man.
deep throating their mics while they scream about
Son of a-
fucking your mom. It's great. I miss
I'm
it.
so glad I missed out on that.
You know, when I play the new Call of Duties now on PlayStation, once in a blue moon, well, I hear these 10-year-olds still talk about fucking your mom. It happens. And it brings me back to better days, and I just murder them.
It's been passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, their dad Kyle talked about fucking your mom 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and he knocked up the town floozy.
And then they had Aiden.
Yep. And now Aiden is on there getting wrecked and still talking about fucking your mom.
And Kyle's in the background going, "That's my boy."
As he slams a Monster Energy drink
Yeah.
With his
of course,
Dorito-
chest.
with his Dorito dust fingers.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I guess, yeah, that's you, Drake.
So characters,
Yeah.
you know, with DM, it's more of, I think one of my favorite characters, sadly, was the first session that we all played together and never really got to, you all never got to him because our party just fell apart. Just quick background for y'all. Humble Bundle, like 4 years ago, ran a thing like $15, you get all Pathfinder books that they had at the time. So drop the
And
money.
a shit ton of modules.
Yeah, so dropped the money, gave, like, hey, y'all need to check this out because it's something to look into. Had people come over to the apartment like once, twice a week. Had 3 friends. Now, granted, this was a big party. We had what, like 7, 8 people minimum?
It
Yeah.
was a really big first session.
Yeah, first couple
There was,
sessions
like-
were insane, and we had like this small little coffee table, and we're all cramming around like 8 people around the coffee table, and we
Yeah.
pulled like some other shit to the side, and just like, we don't have enough room for as many motherfuckers as we had. So, I wasn't a fan of it, but a bunch of newbies. I think like 4 of you were brand new, 3 of you had played before, so it's like, okay, this is cool. The newbies, the veterans will help the newbies, blah, blah, blah. 2 of the veterans like, dude, if we can do this weekly, I'm like, I'm working, I can't do this. Like, I would love to do weekly, but all I can do is bi-weekly. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do it. They're the ones who bailed. Yakha and his psycho split, went their separate ways.
Yeah.
And I think we had a couple other people just stop showing up and dropped out, and I'm finally like, okay, you all die. That campaign, I'm glad it kind of failed because y'all were still new and all the veterans kind of left. So it would have been
Yeah.
rough on all y'all. Because the way I wanted to run it is I wanted there to be this lich that came back, and this was the character. And the whole way the story is I was going to give you, like, every session, like, you have 3 choices. You can either, like, oh, hey, this farm is being assaulted. A trade-in post is being assaulted, or you got to try to break a siege on a small kingdom. You pick one, you would do that, and if you succeeded, awesome. But because you didn't pick the other 2, they failed, and I wanted it to kind of be like a hopeless, like, you're just trudging on as, like, the undead just build and build and build, and every victory you all had was just kind of postponing the inevitable until, you know, you got to the end, and then depending on your choices and all that, you'd either have a chance to get like a good ending, a bad ending, or somewhere in between. And looking back on it, I think it would have been rough for y'all because you literally would have just, like, a couple of our even current players, I think they would have taken it too personal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, like, this is life. You made a choice. Like, oh, you decided to save the farm because you need food. So you save this food. But this kingdom fell, and now there's a massive uptick in undead. And but, like, that lich was just going to be, like, I wanted him to be, like, charming as well. Like, because I wanted some of the party to be like, maybe he's not so bad.
So kind of turn bad and kind of help him.
Not really turn bad, but, like, he'd be one of those bad guys that, like, because his whole premise was, like, free will is a load of horseshit. Like, look at how the state of this world is in this campaign. You know, some races have gotten shit on, why others just, it was going to be like a kind of photorealistic look at the situation we're in the real world now. Like,
yeah.
But looking back on it, I'm glad the campaign failed just because I think, like, if I were to do it, I'd do it probably, you know, now, and I think you all would be fine with it because you'd be able to understand, like, hey, this isn't an attack on you. It's your characters made choices. Mm-hmm. You understood the ramifications of, like, oh, hey, we know that we could only save one. There would have been a couple times where, like, oh, hey, if you all would have rolled high on damages and hits, you might be able to save 1.5 to 2, but there was no way that you were going to be like, we're going to save all 3. And
yeah, you would have made me sad and never wanted to play D&D ever again.
Yeah.
But, you know, now I've got the dark campaign of Gitgrim that, you know, hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll be able to fire back up and at least go back to D20 and Discord and shit.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
That'd be good. I'd like to be a player again.
Welcome to the world of Forever DM.
Well, that's the thing. I've given you a gift. Here is my gift. You are allowed to play.
Yep.
And in exchange, I would also like to play.
I know.
It's nice having 2 DMs.
It's the ultimate, like, 69. Like, I give, you give, I take, you take. In the end, we're all happy.
69 reference.
Oh, God.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite characters, and the other one that I had was a half-elf ranger that was just kind of a half-elf ranger rogue that liked to play pranks on people, and that just always led to giggles in campaigns. But other than that, been DM more than I have not, so my characters are all of them.
I like that. There's a DM, Brennan Lee Mulligan, and he does a couple of college humor stuff, Dimension 20. And one of his quotes that he says, he refers to himself as, I play all of the bad guys. And I'm like, yes, that's me. I'm all the bad guys. I'm gonna kill that dog. Like, I'm gonna get him.
Guess which one's not a dog lover of the group?
Yeah.
Right.
It's me.
It is. I have a wonderful, lovable little coonhound upstairs.
Cute. Are you next?
Yeah. No, Yakha's next.
Yakha.
Yeah, I had a 13. You had a 14.
Oh.
See? Numbers. We can count.
What was the question?
Oh my god.
Your favorite or current or whatever character or build you want to talk about. Whatever you want. It's up to you.
Oh my god.
Dealer's choice.
Oh my god. Man, like, I mean, I have a bunch of characters that I've rolled up, but I mean, I guess I'd just go back to Jarl. Like, he's just my favorite. Just because, like, to me, I can actually do something because the rogue has so many skills that you can use in game, uh, versus the barbarian. It's like, oh, just hit shit. Like, it just seems like with this one, I can play around a little bit more and get creative with him because I'm not afraid of more than likely failing at something. Kind of like the wizard I was playing. It's like, oh, you really can't do jack.
And it doesn't help when the bird shoots you 3 times.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, I love Yorl. Like, I made him out to be kind of this Robin Hood character, where he steals, but he tries to do good things too, and like I'm trying to get that through to the party because I came in later in the session for y'all.
Yep.
So you guys are a more cohesive group than he's trying to insert himself into, and I'm not trying to give away so much stuff about him, but like he's like honestly just being himself. He wants to go have fun, and he's with the group right now. Like he doesn't have too many ties other than his tie to the Thief Guild. So, but I don't even know how it's coming across. So I feel like he's trying to do a lot of talking and trying to get information from y'all, and it doesn't seem to go much anywhere, especially with Aaliyah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, I feel like with like what you're saying, you're not really sure how it's going with everyone. A lot of it could be like you're dicking around Aaliyah. So definitely that may not help Yorl's case very often.
Well, I don't think I've dicked around her too much other than the commandeering or borrowing of her horse and carriage. That was the only thing that I can see that he's done that was quote unquote negative towards the party.
You lied about the or Euro lied about what was it? Sketchy and
yeah. And
there were 2 characters that we were trying to hunt down,
yes.
and you were like, "Oh, I don't know who these people are," and then it came about that you not only did you know them, but you had them employed under you, and Aaliyah just went shit. Like,
yeah, a lot
this
of
is like a cultist group, and this, that, and the other, and you were like, "Oh, they're just brain damage," and then the one kamikazed himself and like blew Aaliyah out of like a fucking room because he fireballed himself. And she's like, "What the actual fuck?" And then of course, you do have Euro gives half answers, which she's not in the mood for already to deal with your shit. And then you stole the fucking horse and carriage from her, and
that was icing on the cake right there.
That's why she wanted your fucking hands.
I loved it story-wise, not gonna lie.
Well, he wasn't lying to you about the 2 guys. Like, I don't remember him trying to say, "Oh, I don't know them," because I remember trying to help you guys out to get them. That was part of our deal.
Yeah, but at first it was like, "Hey, we're looking for these people," and you were like, "I don't know them."
Yeah,
he's in the Thieves Guild. Why is he gonna sell out his own people? Like, you don't do that.
We didn't know he was a thief though, and we didn't know they were Thieves Guild as well. This was just like, "Oh, hey, we're looking for cultists and stuff."
Yeah.
That might have been miscommunication between me and the DM. Maybe. And I was like, "Oh shit, maybe I brought that about wrong."
Yeah. I mean, which happens. I mean, miscommunication here and there, it happens all the time.
Oh my god, it makes for a fun ass role play.
Oh my gosh.
It does.
This game is fun. Like, I know that I'm a thief with a crippled hand, but I'm still interested in RPing it. Yeah, that's super not kosher with the whole class and whatnot, but
aren't
still
you a
RPing that a little. No, I'm both. I was because the rogue doesn't get
right,
evasive
special
action.
Yeah,
I think it's at level 5. And we just got to level 5, and I was going to try to step more to the front line because I did want to use my rapier some more and get off the backfield, like be able to switch and go back and forth depending on what we need. But I was trying to be more frontline, but I didn't have anything to kind of get rid of damage until level 5.
Yeah, just to get more survivability.
Right, and now that my sword hand is damaged, I'm like, well, shit, maybe I'm going to have to be ranged.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a cool RP opportunity to me. That's the way I see it.
An opportunity.
Opportunity.
I, as the DM, I know quite a bit about Yorl and what his whole deal is. And
we talk a lot.
Yeah, we actually do talk a lot about it.
We geek so hard.
You wanted to do something, because Drake as Aaliyah, we did the same thing. I think we spent roughly about half an hour or 45 minutes on the phone, RPing out something that was going to happen that was just going to be you anyways. So we did that, and Yakha with Yorl was like, hey, I have something I want to do. And I'm like, okay, great. Sounds good. I'll be on around like 9 o'clock. And then it was like 3 hours later.
Oh my gosh. I was expecting it to be an hour tops. And we just RP'd it up.
Yeah, it just kept going. And but yeah, so if you have something you want to do, apparently I have no time. But to be fair, it was like really late at night. I think it was like almost until 1 o'clock. So I would have been up just on my phone anyways, not doing any real responsibilities.
I had a freaking permagrin after that. Like it was just so good.
It was good for your story. I really enjoyed your like you progressing and doing things and not doing things in your story.
I wish I could tell you guys because it's so good.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Eventually, I do plan on dropping bits of it.
So is that Yorl, really? Is that it? All pretty much all you want to talk about with him? Because we, like you said, we are still playing this campaign, so you don't want to go too far into it.
I mean, I don't want to go too deep into him, but I mean, I do have a backup druid that I do want to bring out in case Yorl dies for party reasons or non-party reasons.
Yeah. That's you, Monkey.
All right. Well, speaking of druids, I'm going to talk about. God. Yeah, you know them.
That's part of your
a good segue.
Oh man! So
this is the one I missed.
Yes, and I'm so sad you missed it. Holy shit! This is my favorite character, honestly. Okay, so he is a Simic hybrid, Circle of Spores druid.
Love Circle of Spores. Love it.
I never really looked at it until I made this character for this one shot. And
I have a question. I'm sorry. Is this the Unearthed Arcana Circle of Spores druid, or is this the...
It's whatever...
What publication?
It's whatever one that you have loaded in Roll20.
Okay. So there's... Because I know the Unearthed Arcana Circle of Spores druid, and that is actually way more... Like, the publication Circle of Spores is nerfed compared to the UA.
Well, everything
that's usually
UA,
that's usually the case, but I'm more familiar with the UA version, but it's just such a good class. Continue.
Gotcha.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So, as some of you know, I'm a huge Naruto fan. And so I modeled this character after Shino Aburame. And this motherfucker, if you don't know, he has a hive of bugs living inside his fucking body. Yeah. It's the creepiest fucking thing. When you first see him in the anime, it's creepy as shit because it's in like a one-on-one tournament sort of style. With him actually fighting people when you start seeing these bugs. And they're just crawling out of his body, out of little hole pores in his body. Creepy as shit. So I modeled my Circle of Spores druid after that, to where all of these fungal spores are coming out of these little tiny pores in his body. So he almost looks like he's got a cloud of dust, green dust around him at all times. And it's this fungal shit that's living inside of him, giving him powers while he's letting it kind of live off of his body. Dude's creepy as shit, and I love it.
He's very creepy.
He is. Oh my god. But he's a scientist because he's a Simic. So Simic hybrids, they love to dissect things and F with things, combine things to make other things. And they're really fucked. And I love it. I do. Because you can do so many weird things with them. Yeah. So in 2 rounds, after being like, what was I? I was like stuck to the floor.
Yeah. Yep. I
forgot
trap.
Something.
Tanglefoot bagged you. I did something.
Yeah. It's where I was stuck. So gaseous form. Just turn into gas. Now I float 10 feet into the air. Okay, weird, but now I'm gas. Fuckers got freaked out by it and they ran away. Okay, guess I'm gonna not be gas anymore in the next turn. And using one of my Simic hybrid things, I've got these manta wings. I can glide, 5 feet for every 1 foot of drop? Yes. Or 2 feet for every 1 foot of drop. Something like that.
Yeah.
So as I'm gliding towards these fuckers running away, I'm like, I need to stop them. Cast plant growth in front of them. So now there's this giant, 100-foot cube almost of plants growing and slowing them down and freaking them out as I'm gliding towards them.
In the nighttime, with the moon shining behind you. Just a cloud of spores.
Yep. And it's creepy as hell. Very. And so he's definitely one of my favorite just from the roleplay aspect of being this weird, creepy scientist dude. I'm not going to go through the one shot itself, but at some point he finds this forest, this nasty forest that wants to keep him there. But he finds little sapling trees and he decides, I'm going to cut a branch off. Well, the branch is bleeding because it used to be a person. And it's bleeding. And my guy's just like, that's interesting, and keeps carving into it. Because this is different. I've never seen a tree bleed before.
That's not how trees do.
Nope. So now I'm super interested, and I'm just going to keep doing it. And it was. So super creepy. And he doesn't sleep on anything except for mushrooms that he makes with his circle of spores druid shit. And just definitely one of my favorite characters that I've rolled up and played with, whether it's RP, whether it's spells, just utility, and anything in between. And I definitely want to bring him back if my paladin dies in the campaign with Yorl and Aaliyah, but I don't see that happening because not a lot happens to the paladin that he can't take care of. But we'll see.
I'll make a note about that.
We'll see. Yeah. He was an asshole to Yorl, so...
I saved your hand.
Yeah, but you're also a dick the next day, so...
Well, you shouldn't have done what you did.
You shouldn't have done what you did. What I liked about that was it was supposed to be a non-canon game because we were off, and we were just like, do you want to make it canon as part of Yorl's backstory? And you're like, yeah, let's do it. And then if that druid ever comes back into the party, it's just going to be like dread across his face.
It was the creepiest day of Yorl's life.
Oh, it was.
Well,
that's
Yorl
why I wanted to make it canon.
He was just a teenager, maybe a little bit older than that, and he gets paired with this weird-ass dude to make a delivery down to Dresla. It was definitely Dresla.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they got caught in the Whispergrab Woods. They were attacked by some bandits, and then the bandits got taken. They got taken by the trees and turned into trees. And you're just like, trees bleeding. That's cool.
Yep. Elwarren Silward.
Elwarren.
That's the guy. Elwarren Silward. Man, Yeah, and so at the beginning, he was actually hired by Yorl's dad, if I remember right, to help Yorl.
Yes.
And yeah, he's definitely canon now, and he may make a comeback. It just depends on how this goes.
And Ural's not going to appreciate that either. It's like, oh, now I got this warlock and a druid I don't like.
Yep, this evil bitch warlock and this real creepy ass druid. Great. Why can't anybody normal come by?
The barbarian's pretty normal.
Yeah, just drink and arm wrestle people. That's our thing in that campaign. We just arm wrestle everybody.
She is so good at it. She has the best rules for arm wrestling.
Want to arm wrestle in the middle of the freaking road? Let's do it. Thaumaturgy. Let's make this a party. Rumble the ground. Start announcer.
A crowd starts forming. You make a couple gold off of some spectators and some bets. Hell yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, Elwar and Silward, that's definitely my favorite. Circle of Spores, Cynic Hybrid, Druid. Fucking weirdo.
He's
cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a good character.
Yeah.
Is that me?
That is you.
Okay. So I kind of cheated. Because while I was playing the one campaign with you guys, I started another one just strictly online. I have never met these people. I don't even know what their faces look like, what they do in real life. I only know them by their characters and like by the whole character name. And I was looking for another game to join because, once again, I'm a maniac and I don't know when to stop.
You really don't.
I can't. I can't do it.
I would say you need an intervention, but I love it too much, so it's okay.
Thanks. So I joined the game and they needed a cleric. I was like, well, I'm good at clerics. I could do that. And I already had Rayasha in mind, and she was the cleric in Drake's campaign. It's like, I'll just keep the name Rayasha. It's a good name. It's easy for me to remember. I'm already playing a cleric Rayasha. I already know all the spells. Like, it's going to be an easy transition. So this character is also named Rayasha. And I really enjoyed playing her because I actually got to play her. I think we started at level 6 or 7. We went all the way to level 20. We had epic fights. I believe at one point we fought 4 Tarrasques and about a dozen pit fiends.
Oh,
like in one encounter. And I didn't have too much of a backstory for her because I was actually joining in partway through the campaign. So I was level 6. They had started at level 1. So I wasn't involved in anything from 1 to 6, only when I joined in. And there was a character in that game, and his name was Tundra. And he was sort of like the cool guy with the halberd, the guy in the van. Like, he's your man in the van. Do you need something? He knows the information. He can help you out. He sort of like helped the party get places and do things without actually like going in and actually killing or doing damage or stuff like that himself. And after a lot of time, Rayasha and Tundra became close to one another when they went to some sort of demiplane to go get this book so that this lich wouldn't regenerate, but it was also where a Tarrasque was, and we had to run away. We became close, and then he died. Like, the NPC died. And it was, like, so devastating to all of us. Not mostly me, but, like, I felt especially devastated. Everyone else was so sad. He left a will, and he left us a whole bunch of stuff in his will. And because he left me, like, infinite money. but I was a cleric, so I only used it for the church. And everybody was so mad at me. They were like, well, let's get some gear because we're going to go do this. And they're like, Ray, you have all of this money. You should buy this. And I'm like, well, no, that money's for the church. They really need it to rebuild. And I'm actually building another church like close to our base of operations because we had a keep as well. And it was like, I'm building a church in the keep. I need the money for that. And they're like, well, how do you even have this money? It's like, easy. I just hold my hands out. I say, I need 40 gold for the church. And then blink, just 40 gold just appears in my little hands.
That's awesome.
And so I would do that, and I would just boop, 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 go over to the collection box and just put it all in there, to the detriment of my party because they hated it. They had money. They had lots of jobs that they did. The keep, they turned it into a guild, and they were making money off of, those like jobs that guilds do. They had money. They just wanted my money. I was pious and devout.
I could have gone sideways. You're like, nope, don't want any part of this.
Give it to the damn church.
I gave it to the church. I eventually became like whatever the Pope, essentially, like the highest possible.
You bought your way into it.
Right.
Well, I was a cleric. I was a level 20 cleric. And I also built churches, and people came to me for healing. Like, I was almost like a divine entity myself. So I was whatever the highest level of cleric you could be, that's what I was. And I eventually, the warlock, I had her teach me how to do disguise self. Because I was not ready to be the head of the church. And people kept coming to me and they're like, oh, we need your praises. Please bless us. And I'm like, nope. So she taught me how to disguise self so I could, be a regular person. And every time I did so, I had a terrible accent. Because Rayasha didn't know how to do accents. I know how to do accents, but Rayasha didn't. And eventually the character, like I said, they went on to be level 20. It turns out that this Tundra person was actually a demigod from the past that had been stuck here on Earth, and by actually dying because the Jurassic exploded him or something, he was like sort of set free and he was able to finish what he was supposed to have done. It was a very convoluted story, but essentially my character was the reincarnated soul of his wife from the entirety of him being on the material plane.
Oh my god.
So every time, his wife died, he would reincarnate her soul and it would pop up somewhere, and he would spend some time trying to find her, and eventually, like, when she was of age and if she was consenting in, like, wanting to have a relationship with him, he would follow through and bring back her memories. And so that was what my character was, and I didn't even know that. It was just something the DM just, like, threw in there almost at the very end, but I was like, all right, I'll go with it. That's pretty fucking dope. So,
right?
Well, the treks were laid, like, a relationship was built over a long period of a time before that bombshell had dropped. Clearly, because the DM is a good DM. But that's probably one of the best characters that I remember playing, just because you got to start and finish. Like, had a full completion, had a full story, had a happy ending of sorts, and that doesn't always happen with games or tabletop games in general, because they kind of fizzle out, or you don't get to level 20, or you don't get a happy ending and you die.
Yep.
So that's her. That's Ryash Mark II.
Mark II.
Yeah. So, cool. Good job, everybody. We did it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that wraps up the podcast for this week.
Heck yeah. That sounds... Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not meant to talk to the public.
That's okay. So I guess, yeah, we're going to try and keep doing this every other week. Haven't really figured out a day to post these things, but obviously editing, all that fun stuff we got to do. Yep. Finger guns. And
I don't know why I did finger
that's okay. Because we're weird.
I suppose.
But yeah, so I think that'll wrap up the first episode of Busy Adults.
Hooray! Good job, Busy Adults. That's us. Here's the outro song coming up.
Yep, that's canon.
Balls.
Hey, Yakha again. Thank you for listening to the Busy Adults podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts for more of our latest content. I hope you enjoyed our first episode, and I also hope to see you in the next.